Hi, this is Munira from Chicagoland. I am the CEO and founder of Kismet Ventures, Inc. I am also a John Maxwell certified coach. I am a previous health consultant in my previous life. And I am on a journey where I'm finding people who are instilling values in other people. And I am on a mission to expose and promote these people. Today's guest is Patti Speige. She's a good friend of mine. Hi, Patti.
Hi, Munira.
Hi. So thank you so much for your time and spending some of your time with us today.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. And so I know that if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, it would be start off to our good interview.
Very good. All right. Well, as she said, my name is Patti Speige, and starting on my journey, I've been a high school Spanish teacher for 28 years before I started doing anything with what I'm doing right now. But I think that's definitely part of my journey because I love teaching. I love being around students. I love the energy that they provide, and I like being busy. So when I was a teacher, I had a pretty set schedule, and I had days that were busier than other days, but what I found was that I can inspire, and I have to learn how to be able to teach and inspire students. And sometimes that was easier than other times. I had the best of the best students because I was teaching a foreign language, and I taught the beginning level, but then I also taught the fourth and the fifth level. So at that point, the kids were pretty serious about learning the language and wanting to become fluent. So they were very easy to motivate because all of them saw how they could use a foreign language in their future. And so that was good. But when I was working with the younger students, that was a little harder because they were in the beginning levels, and if they were successful and it was easy, then they had no trouble. But as you're learning a foreign language, not everybody learns it real easy, as I'm sure you know, Munira. And, so the kids that had difficulty, it was very difficult to motivate them because they just didn't want to, and so that was a challenge for me. Another, I wasn't going to mention this, but one of the biggest challenges I did professionally as a teacher, I won a Fulbright scholarship, and I went down to Mexico. This was a teacher exchange, so that the teacher in Mexico who taught English as a second language came to my school. We did this for 6 months. So he came to my school and taught Spanish, which is his native language. And then I went down to what we would consider like a junior high, pretty much. They were younger students, and taught them English, which is my native language. And in many ways, I did that in the year 2000. And just for 6 months, like I said. So looking back on that in many ways was one of the hardest things I ever did, because some students down there, they all liked me and they all wanted to be my friend, and they all were fascinated with talking to me, but in Spanish. They didn't see the value of learning English down there because all of them were going to stay. They lived in a small town. They didn't see the value like, my other students. So many times I just felt like I was knocking my head against the wall because I would try to get them to see how much it would help them. And so, I came back with the knowledge that, you can help people, but only if they're going to help themselves. You can't do it for them. Now that I'm retired, I retired 3 years ago, but I still keep involved with my Spanish. I'm a passionate teacher. I love to teach. I think that's a God-given talent. I think I have a lot of patience with people, and I think that's part of it. And just last night, I got a call from a very close Hispanic friend of mine that lives in my community, and she said that a group of about 12 or so of the Mexicans that live in our community want to learn to speak English. And so I feel that that's going to open another door for me to use my language, because these are adults and they're very motivated to learn to speak English.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? So, I mean, I like the fact that, I mean, I started my journey in Spanish, but, it's opened so many other doors for me.
So let me ask you this. When you were learning to be a teacher, did you know you were going to be a Spanish teacher as well? Or how did that Spanish thing start?
That's so funny that you should ask me, because I'm going back to the Dominican Republic. I leave tomorrow morning on a mission trip. I'm going with an organization I'm very involved with, and we're going to be doing a sports camps for kids down there, and also a teacher seminar. Well, when I was 16 years old, my father was a medical doctor. And when I was 16 years old, I went with him for the first time to the Dominican Republic on a mission trip. And our church was going, and I was going to work with teenagers, the youth. We were preparing like skits and songs and, like puppet ministry and things like that. And then the doctors and nurses, and there's a pharmacy. They had a whole set of people that were going to be doing that while we were working with the children. Well, when we got down there, and so this was in the 70s, 1970s, about 1973. When we got down there, I was in Spanish 3. So I was, I was a junior at that time. And they realized they did not have enough translators. They didn't have enough translators. So they asked me as a young kid if I would be willing to try to help with the clinics instead of working with the teenagers. And at first it scared me half to death, but I thought, well, I'll try, because I always liked Spanish. I really had that in my, it was a fun class. I saw it as just a class that I enjoyed in high school. But when I got down there, each day I got a little bit better, and I never was like, I'm, probably looking back, I wasn't that good at all, but I could communicate with the people. I could see that this was something that I could do. So that, at the very first day, they put me in charge of just getting names and ages and like what their general complaint was. And then by the end of the time we were leaving, I never did work with the teenagers. I worked with my dad. And so it would be the patient, my dad, and I together. And if I got stuck on something or I couldn't understand what they were saying, there were other translators around. But it for the first time opened my eyes that I could see that I could do this and that I enjoyed doing it. And so it's so cool that now I'm going back to the Dominican Republic. It's like full circle, because I've taken my students down there too. And I mean, Dominican Republic is near and dear to my heart, because that is where I really decided that I wanted to do it. I wanted to teach Spanish, and since then I go back regularly on mission trips, because I feel like, I'm so blessed. I want to be able to bless other people too.
So again, instilling values, right? And then what you know, and sharing and enriching other people's lives.
Exactly. And so I think that, we have to do that. We can't just live in our own little world. We have to reach out and make a difference with other people. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So then let me back up that. So that's my background. Then about 7 years ago, my sister started talking about doTerra essential oils. And I had heard of them, but, not like we hear about them now. Now there's so much information about essential oils. And I thought she was kind of crazy. This is my sister. And I listened to her, and she talked about it. And finally it was close to Christmas time. I think it'll be 8 years this next year. So I think it's 7.5 years ago. And I was like, okay, I'll try it just to, get my sister to shut up pretty much. And I was still teaching school. So, I was experimenting. So over those, right at the beginning, I was experimenting and using them, and I was loving, especially the supplements. I took the supplements, and I could tell I had more energy, because as a teacher, it's a lot of work. Teaching is the best thing I love teaching, but your work is never done. You always have something to do. If you're caught up with grading, well, then you got to plan the next week. You got to plan the next test. You got to write the next letter of recommendation. There's always something to do, okay? And I noticed that when I was taking these supplements, I had so much energy, much, much more energy than I had ever had before, and I didn't get sick. So I was like, okay, this is something. These are something. And then after maybe about 2 years, I started beginning to think about retirement. I still didn't know exactly when I was going to retire, but when I retired, I knew I didn't want to just sit around. I knew that I wanted to keep busy, which I do. So when I started retiring, or when I did retire, I taught 28 years, sorry. And then now I'm full-time retired from teaching, but I still sub in Spanish, and I do a lot of volunteer work for my community here. I work with Salvation Army, I work with the schools, I work with a resource center to help people. And then I'm on the board of directors with this Mission Possible that I was talking about. And I teach classes of doTERRA, the essential oils, because yeah, in the 7.5 years now, I can look back and say, okay, that's the best thing I've ever done for my health, without a doubt. And so I continue to teach classes, and, you know, I have a community of people that I work with, including Munira, that, you know, I'm trying to help and trying to instill and just being available to help whenever I can.
Okay, so let's talk about, so Spanish, so how did you, so just supplements, or, you know, people talk about doTERRA and there's essential oils and there's other things that are involved. But most of the time, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is the oils, right?
Exactly,
So
yes.
You know, it's amazing that you're using your skills, your teaching skills to bring it. So it's a transferable skill, right?
Yes.
And so you're in business for yourself right now.
Yes.
So do you use the oils, and
yes.
What do you tell people who are watching this? You know, I mean, just one, because doTERRA is an MLM, it's a multi-level marketing.
Yes.
So that's number one. How do you, so what advice do you give to people who are going to start this business, number one? Number two, how do you grow your business?
Okay.
And number three, share what you know.
Okay, all right. Well, number one, yes, doTERRA is an essential oil company, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't use probably 10 to 12 different oils, because I use it in my shampoo, I use it in my conditioner, I use it in my face cleaning routine, I use it in my moisturizer, I use it when I go to bed, I use it when I wake up. You know, I have a diffuser, which is always, excuse me, having oils diffusing. So, you know, but then when I tell you about the supplements, well, the supplements have 9 essential oils in them. So every day I'm taking those 9 essential oils that, you know, it's more than just vitamins. It's vitamins and minerals. There's no doubt about it. And it has like things that are built, like basically it goes back to your building blocks of your cells that feeds your cells. But then every single day, 2 times a day, I'm taking these 9 essential oils that help make my body stronger. And so it's helping, you know, because I believe that we are what we eat. So I think we have to eat healthy, but we also have to take care of ourselves, because even eating healthy, I know so many people that just try to eat healthy, but our products are depleted. The soil is depleted. There's contaminants. There's just this world that we live in. You know, you can do the best you can and still not really give your body what it needs. So absolutely, I use essential oils, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't use them.
Let me stop you for a second there.
Okay.
So you said the soils are contaminated, and I'm being a devil's advocate here. So all of the items, all of the oils are natural products, right?
Yes.
And then they're squeezed, and somehow the oils are coming.
I know where you're going with this. Good.
So, but you know, so the thing is, so if you say the oils are contaminated and things are grown and then put, you know, the oils are then pressed out of it and we use them. So isn't there cross contamination?
Yeah, well, the thing with that is that most of our oils, I mean, oh goodness, I'd have to look at the chart to see, but so many oils are not even in our country. They're in other countries, and then they're in a place where there is no pesticides. There is no, they're only natural things that are used on them. Okay. So, like, for example, I know right now in Italy, they supply all the bergamot and all the lemon, and they don't use any kind of pesticide or anything on that. The only ones that I know, in the United States, well, I'm not going to say the only ones, but peppermint is grown out in Washington, and they take great care not to contaminate the soil for that very reason. So, because it's a huge concern. You're right.
Okay, that's just you were talking about. You were going to go next to the MLM marketing.
Yeah. Well, give me your second question again. Let me hear you say it again.
So that was so this first one was that what do you tell people who want to get into your business?
Okay. Well, let me go back to that one then.
Okay.
Because I'm always talking to people and always, interested in helping people join my business, because like I said, I've had such success that I want to share it with others. So what do I tell people that want to, that should, first of all, that their health is important. Their health, they're going to be able to use the oils and the supplements and all the products to improve their health, and they can begin to teach classes. Really, you need to be able to educate other people, because everyone has their own sphere of influence, I guess I would say. And so, like with you, Munira, I'd love to come up here and help you, but you're a lot farther away than I am. So the best way to help you is over the telephone. But I would also love to come up there and help you actually, physically help you teach classes and learn to teach classes. Because I won't, let's say that somebody joins my team, I won't be the only one teaching classes. I'll help somebody to learn to teach their own classes. Because, and again, that comes back to nurturing and teaching somebody how to do something. I can't do everything for everyone on my team. There's probably, I haven't looked at the number recently, but I know there's over 2,000 people on my team. I don't know them all. Okay. I won't have contact with them all, but I know an awful lot of them. And I don't even know half of them, but the ones that I do know, I'm helping them learn to teach their own classes so that they can talk and help other people who can, and it's just a ripple effect. Okay.
So I love the fact that you love teaching, and now you're still doing what you love in the Spanish arena and helping people and grow there, but you're using your transferable skills in teaching to teach other people become healthy, right?
Yes.
So DoTerra is an MLM, and I'm going to, and there's a negative concoction about the MLM business where people say, you shouldn't be doing this because all of the people on the top level are making the money. What do you say about that?
No, I don't think that's true at all. I don't think that's true. I think you get paid according to your work. So the people that are above me have worked and still continue to work, and I know people that are above me that don't get paid as much as I do. Okay. And that's, hang on just a minute. My grandson's leaving. Are you done? In about 10 minutes, I can. All right. Hang all those all back up for me. You just got done helping me here at my house. No, there's people in my upline that I know I make more than them because they're not, really doing it as a business anymore. So, you're paid on your level of work and commitment.
You have chimes, I see.
Yes, he's hanging back up the wind chimes. I'm on my porch now.
Okay, so how do you grow a team?
How do you grow a team? One person at a time. And that really is true. And you have to always, I have to constantly be working on my own personal development because, let me move for him, because And an MLM, like you said, is a business, but it's a relationship business. So I need to be constantly trying to improve myself too. I mean, not only health ways, I'm always reading materials. That's how I was interested in meeting you for the first time, because of John Maxwell. I mean, everybody's heard of him, and he's the guru of positive thinking and so forth. Every day I try to feed my mind, listening to podcasts, listening to webinars, and learning more about the product, learning more about the business, but also learning more how I can be a better person. Okay. And so then, like, let's say that I decide I'm never going to do anything more. Well, my business will die out, because if I stop, it'd be like me, if I stop putting food into my body will die out. So we're constantly moving, and we're either moving up and forward or moving back, and so that's how I feel about it anyhow. And so, I have no problem with people that are above me making more than me, because they've been in the trenches too. They couldn't do it without getting out and like I said, getting and doing the very same thing that I'm doing.
Well, thank you.
I do have to say, I mean, there are a lot of MLMs that are very different. I'm not a pro, I'm not an expert in other ones, but I have heard many people say that doTERRA is different in the compensation plan, and I do know that their whole mindset is different. In this way, I could share with you, instead of focusing on buying cars and all the big hoop to do, they really focus that people should be getting out of debt. Try to get out of debt so that you can help other people in this world. And that's not your typical MLM right there. So that you can, like, if you want to make a difference in this world, they say, first of all, you pay off all your debts, you pay off your cars, your school loans, your house, and then you're free to give to other organizations. And that is pretty special.
That is special. Well, thank you so much for your time, Patti. Is there anything else that you want to tell the people that are going to watch this?
It's a pleasure to be here. I don't really know what else you want me to say. I enjoy talking. I love what I do.
And I appreciate the fact that you just love people. I mean, we literally met on a plane.
Yeah.
And you started talking to me, and we met because your grandson was sitting next to me, and then he wanted your window seat so you can buy, and then we started talking. And usually I'm not a good talker. On the plane I like to sleep, but you are so interesting that it was awesome for us to just talk. But you were curious about the fact that I was going to the IMC for John Maxwell, and you were going to Disneyland.
We were going down to Disneyland. Yeah, very cool. It's awesome. I generally do love people, and I feel like we're here on this world to make a difference with people. So the people that we cross paths with, I don't believe it's a coincidence. I think that some of the people that are now like on my doTERRA team are some of my very best friends, and I didn't know them 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
But that's the beauty of it, right? Because you learn about people, and then you want to help people, or you want to not them anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm doing these webinars where I'm meeting so many wonderful people that are instilling these values in other people, right? And now that you are going to do this this thing with teaching the older community in your area about English, because there is a need with the new regulations and everything. The people are scared, and so they have to learn the language. And
that's true.
Always, I lived in California for a long time, and I'm not of a Hispanic descent, but sometimes you just blend in. That's a funny story, because I used to work in the pharmacy, and we used to have an outpatient site, and sometimes I would go help them, and I would have older women who would come to the window, and then I would have to find Ernie or Maria to come and translate for them.
Yeah.
And there were times when I would be outside and, they needed directions. Hospitals are a labyrinth. And so people need
Very much.
directions and they would ask me something and I kind of understood the context, but I never knew how to answer them
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
the language. And I
Yeah.
had these little old ladies who would scold me. So I had this one friend of mine says, what she's saying is that you're a disgrace to your society.
Oh no.
You don't know Spanish and you don't know your language. And I said,
Oh
which
no.
one? Because I speak
Yeah.
many languages, only Spanish isn't one of them. But I realized that when they look at me as a Hispanic woman.
Yes.
And I realized that I needed to learn the language, although I'm not fluent, I can get by with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so you just need somebody to speak with,
Absolutely. Well, and I think you and I have talked a little bit about how really my next step with doTERRA, I feel like I want to go international.
Yes.
And I know like I that God has given me my talent in Spanish for a reason, not to hold it to myself, but to use it. So I want to like naturally reach out to the Spanish speaking countries, but Brazil now is open. Brazil is very close to Spanish, Portuguese is. And you and I have talked about Kenya and Ethiopia. And I mean, I'm willing. I'm willing. I want to be used. I want to, wherever God wants to send me in this world.
And from your lips to God ears, right? But so there's opportunity and we're always looking. And as growing people, we're always we have to be looking for these opportunities.
Absolutely. And
And
these products, like we haven't talked a whole lot about the oils, but excuse me, the products sell themselves because when people start trying some of the natural things, I mean, so many people take medicines for everything, and I mean, I don't even have Tylenol or Advil or anything like that in my house anymore because I don't need them, so I mean, anybody that's listening on this, if you're interested and you've never tried essential oils, reach out to Munira because she's beginning to learn too. And there's so much to be said for going with natural things rather than the chemical man-made things.
yeah, the reason I got started was because he gave me a sample and he said, here, because my husband's knee was very stiff and he said, try that, and he loved it. So
Yep.
so I started using it and he, then it's history.
Very good. That's how we all start.
Well, yes. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Nice
And
to talk to you.
for the viewers that are going to be watching this is going to be on YouTube. You can like and subscribe to my channel. We will have a link for my doTERRA page and my business page, as well as how to get in touch with Patti. If you need anything in Spanish or in doTERRA, she's the one to go to. And the fact that you're instilling other people's lives, which we thank you for. And just enjoy you as a person. I really do appreciate you being my friend and my mentor, and I appreciate that very much.
All right. Love you, dear.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye now.